Yeah.
And then now, like even maybe let's say the audience, like from your audience, who would you say you've seen like enjoy your content the most? Is it like just young girls your age? Is it working class? Is it like all rounded? Like what kind of people consume your content?
I would say young girls. I also have young guys also, women, married women, women who are working also come to me and tell me, oh my God, your content is so nice. It is because my content is usually about self-empowerment, and I just feel like mostly women. When it comes to men, maybe a small percentage. Let's say women 60% and men 40%.
But you know, we see the attitude and what you say about men. I mean, so it might not be very encouraging for somebody to be like, yeah, I can't wait to hear what she's saying today. And then we're like, hey, Kwani, what have we done again? What have we done again? But do you get comments from men who are like, hey, why do you keep talking that way about men?
Actually, I don't. I've had comments that say, what you say is actually, men come and tell me what you say is actually very true. And the people who are giving you a lot of backlash, they are hating on you because they know what you're saying is true. And the men who don't like what you're saying, because men who are actually good and actually are not all those things that I claim men to be, they don't have a problem with my content. In fact, they like, and they tell me like, hey, this is true. But the men who are actually like that, who feel attacked, they're the ones who usually have the need to come and tell me, hey, what are you saying? You're the ones who are going to make our girlfriends leave us. I'm like, why would they leave you if you're not that?
What's the most common thing that you've maybe had to repeat like on your platform about men? Because you've also said you don't really trust men that much. And also if you look at like maybe a strained relationship with dad as well, which you said it might have also affected how maybe you look at men as well. But like how would you say men, how do you view men right now? Just your thoughts. Or like what are those bad examples you'd say you've repeatedly like addressed like on your platform?
Okay, so one of the things that I noticed about women is when they involve themselves with a man, they tend to lessen themselves, and they tend to forget themselves in a certain kind of way. And when you do that, you give the men a little bit of this power over you to manipulate you and to, let's say, if you're dealing with somebody who is narcissistic, this person is operating according to his ego. And women, when they involve with themselves with a narcissistic man, he's going to love bomb you, and you're going to think that this is perfectly normal. And it teaches a time this person is making you not to do the things that you love, constantly bashing you and making you feel small. And that is what I usually repeat every single time in my page. If you involve yourself with a man, please do not neglect yourself. Please remember your worth. Please remember that you're also somebody who has a say in that relationship. Don't let somebody just have don't let somebody direct your life entirely. That's why people tend to say, hey, my relationship is not working. But in real sense, you're the one who is making it not work, because you are enabling this person to actually come into your life and lessen you. Yeah.
So, that's called like submitting to your man, right? Would you submit to your...
I would.
You would?
Yeah, I would submit.
Well, we can't wait. We can't wait for that day we see. And Joel is saying, my man. And you're like,
Yeah, but I would only submit if this person is actually masculine enough, and this person is actually also taking care of me and also letting me be myself and actually pursue my dreams and all of that. I wouldn't have a problem with somebody coming and telling me, hey, this and this and this is wrong, I would listen to you, as long as you also listen to me when it comes to the things that I love and the things that I have an opinion also about yourself. So it's not all the time it has to be you. It has to be a two-way traffic.
But do you think or agree that maybe a woman's supposed to be a man's helper?
I'm supposed to be a man's helper.
Because there's somebody, like you see, even for your case, even when you describe it, you're saying like, I force to submit to a man, saying you'd want to be like a masculine man. So automatically it means he has to be like better in so many other different things than you, so that you can look up to him and say like, hey, by the way, if I need help, whether it's physical, mental, financial, he can still be able to kind of make things easier for you. So do you think like that's just...
I do believe that a woman is supposed to be a man's helper, because there is something that, the same way there is something that women lack, there is something also that men lack, that
100%,
women have to come in and actually help you with,
Yeah.
you know. But if you want a woman to actually be your helper, you have to actually also be a helper to that woman. Let that woman feel safe. Protect that woman. Provide for that woman. And that woman will naturally... Actually, these things that we say, being a helper, submitting, these are things that come naturally. You cannot force somebody to be your helper, you know?
True.
When you actually play your role as a man, you will just find your woman actually helping you with things, with so many things, with growing your company, if it's growing your company, your business and everything else. So it just has to do with how everybody is playing their role. Yeah.
Okay, now the trust thing that you had mentioned, you said like you don't trust men when it comes to friendship. What exactly do you mean by that? Like in what ways wouldn't you... or is there a bad experience that has happened in friendship that made you lose faith in like such situations?
No, not really. I would say I have had very good male friends, you know, but you know, men, they cannot...
I don't know. I'm asking. I'm a man, so
okay,
I don't know. So even for me, I'm just like, okay, I want to know, because even for me, like, you know.
Let me say from my side.
Yeah.
When it comes in female and male relationships and male and male relationships, there tends to be a stronger bond compared to female and male relationships, you know.
True.
So I can never say that, hey, I can never be like, let's say, if you're my friend, I can never say that, hey, I know that you are my best friend and I know that you're a man. And when it comes to you and another male, automatically you will put that other male in front of me, you know.
True.
That is why I would never ever consider myself to be above or to have even a space in a man's life when it comes to friendship, because I know where I stand. As long as I'm not a male like you, I know my place for you. So that's what I mean when I say I don't trust males. But I genuinely think that we shouldn't trust anyone. There is nowhere in the Bible where it has said we should trust people.
That's true. Yeah, you can't just be walking blindly.
Yeah, like for real. Just put your trust in God, and yeah.
Okay, interesting. Also, another take, like, you know, because there's a video that I saw. The video, let me just open it so that I can get it correct. The headline, right? The headline was, where is it? You are asked if you had a chance to break one rule for a day, what would it be?
Yeah. Yes, I had gone.
Even the judges were saying like, wait, you said what? And she was like, maybe I've had it wrong. You said what? And then you say kill.
Yeah.
Kill?
Yes. If killing was actually, if for one day it was like, hey, you can break any rule. Yeah. You just do it. Hey, maybe I would say kill, because killing, we would be able to actually kill these men who rape women, these men who force themselves onto women.
Yeah.
You'll be able to kill them and not go anywhere. Nobody will actually, men who would tend to touch you inappropriately, because that feeling is so bad. You know, maybe you men, you'll never feel that, you'll never feel it because you're men, but as women, even if a man just holds your hand like this and forces you, hey, Msichana, come, let me talk to you. To me, it feels so bad. Like, what makes you think you can just...
Matatu za Burusi, I'm sure when you're going on stage, they're always like...
And I'm usually like, why? I know the kind of matatu I want to get into. You know?
Yeah.
So me, personally, you just try to touch me a little bit down.
So what happens? Because like now if you're going to use a Buruma 3, I'm sure that's going to happen every single day. How do you approach such things?
Niachilie. Yeah, I have to be tough and tell them, hey, leave me alone, don't touch me.
But they'll still do it tomorrow.
If they do, I have to constantly do that. That's why I'm saying that, hey, if I could just shoot somebody in the hand and they hear like this girl shoots
shoots people so they can stop.
They can just be like, hey, don't touch that one, you know?
Okay. So it's not like you've ever been in an abusive situation with a guy or anything close to that?
No, not really. I have not. Let's say when I was young, the stupid love, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, just stupid love, and they don't count that as abusive and all of that.
Yeah.
Because we were all young.
We were just young.
Yeah, we were just young.
Because I think now when it happens in adulting and we see it like on social media, that's when you're just saying like, hey, I don't even understand. People are going through such lives.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense to me by the way. So,
Same.
and I completely understand that bit. And even like just on that, we can maybe address like just even like the femicide rate, because you've talked about it. I think in a couple of your videos, you keep mentioning, and the hashtag also is present like in some of your videos, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts just about on something like that? Because on my platform, I've addressed before, and they said, because those numbers keep going high.
Yeah.
But I was saying that people need to start paying attention to the boys who are growing up, not the men. The men who are doing these things. Like, even if you remember the guy who was saying in a march protest, like, yo, me, if you eat my pizza and try and go with me, I'll kill you. I was just like, you have to understand, there are people who are damaged beyond repair.
Yeah.
And they want to change their stance. And that's why, like, even as much as protests keep happening, how many bodies do we see in a week?
Hey, many.
It's consistent. Like, there's no month that nobody dies from such as, and these are the ones that we know.
Yeah.
I'm sure like outside the city, there's so many others that are not like reported or addressed or highlighted with the news or blogs. But I was saying like, you need to start paying attention to like small or young boys, because like right now we do have like a very big number of boys who are being neglected, not only by, let's just say, the government, but even with society. You have to understand right now boys are seeing like a lot of young women getting opportunities. Me, I'm not in that age group, so I'm slightly different, but they are consistently saying like women's programs, you apply for this, women will teach you, and as you nini. How many programs right now have you heard about young boys like being trained to mentorship on?
Very, very few.
They don't exist even.
Yeah.
They don't even exist.
True.
The one that exists, maybe it's men conference, and it's a whole joke. It's just a joke for Valentine's Day. I don't think that's something that's actually serious. But look at women's program. There are so many. But remember, these young boys are seeing that neglect. They're being pushed aside with everything and everything. And if you notice, like even from like the age groups of these people who are throwing each other in balconies, it's young people, Gen Z. I mean, I don't remember the last time millennials threw each other like through windows, balconies, moving cars. It's slightly a younger group of young adults, teenagers. We're seeing those extremes. Maybe my numbers are wrong, but what we're seeing on mainstream is a lot of young people.
True.
So I think there are a lot of young boys who are being neglected. And if you see how they're reacting, the last resort is just extreme violence or killing or death.
Yeah.
And I know it goes both ways, but still there's a lot and a large group of boys who are being neglected. And I think it's going to be a problem if it still keeps going that way. But like, just what are your thoughts though?
What are my thoughts? I actually think you have a point. I recently made a video on starting on actually paying attention to the way we are raising children from the home. You know, everything starts from the home, you know?
Yeah.
And right now, as you have said, it's not a lie. A guy my age, you can find a girl my age. I'm 20 years old, you know, and you can find a girl who is 20 years old as me. She already has her own place, her own apartment, you know,
Yes.
and a guy is struggling to like get the same opportunity on the same age, and you'll find like that's why girls are like, hey, me, I don't want to date a younger guy, you know.
If you don't have money,
if you don't have money, yes, it can. You have a point. It can highly contribute to what is happening and everything else. So let's say maybe empowering. We can try empowering the male
have
child. We have to, in as much as we are empowering the female child, and we also have to teach the males also to see women as more than just objects, and also more than just things to just, most men do not view women as something that
100%
as
true.
human beings, as decent human beings. So if we try empowering the males, giving them equal opportunities as we give females, and the way females, when we go for a talk, we will always constantly be reminded of our worth. If we have things like that, and the males go wanaongeleshwa, they're being told like, hey, as a man, like, you also have this kind of worth. You can also grow up to become somebody decent, and you're constantly reminded of your morals also. I think that it will change a lot. Change for real,
because now the group is growing like massively of like, and also understand still, unfortunately, we also have like a large group of those same boys that are still being raised by single moms.
True.
So like even dads are not present to guide them. Exactly. And still we still have a government or society that does not provide programs that can encourage them like just to be men. That's why when you have like young girls who are like saying right now consistently online, like these young men don't know how to treat like they can't do anything for you, they can't do this and this for me.
That is the reason.
These young boys keep saying this. So you can only imagine like how they're growing up with that mentality. And how else are they supposed to look at these women as queens, people we should provide and protect for, when entirely through their childhood till adulting, they're still getting the same, like you've said, there are no programs, there are no talks. Like even the last time you saw talks for young men. Like on TV. But for women, every other weekend, 2 months, pink thing, there's a pink whatever. I think I saw, wait, you're doing are you going for the Dera thing with
yes,
you see, like there's so many different things for for women, like in general, that they're just pushed. And even when they're pushed, like even brands jump in. It's like, oh, what Sijui Nani's doing, okay, KCB is there, or Sijui Stan Chat or whatever, like brands are even ready to go in with that. But when they hit like a boys thing, like even look at the branch, this is paka like EABL, like, there's a Guinness special thing for women. I'm like, since when? Is there a group activity sponsored by Guinness, which used to be like a man's drink? But they don't even do that for guys anymore.
I think the reason as to why maybe the women have all these things about empowering women is because even before like women used to be empowered as they are in the present day, it used to be men being empowered and being told like, you are everything, you have to be like in the olden days. A father would sit down with the son and tell him like, this is your role in the family, you have to protect your family, this is your wife, this is how to treat them. And the woman used to be neglected so much. You stay in the house, wash the dishes. And the women decided to switch it up. So I think right now, because even these events for empowering women, it's the women who are organizing it. So I would really, really pray that if there are men out there who have been raised by good men who present mothers, present fathers, because just as I was saying in another video of mine, if you have a present dad and if you have a present mom, you will grow up to be a very, 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 very good and decent human being. If you grow up with a single mother, it has an impact, even on us women. Even as a woman, you can tell the difference between a girl who has grown with a present dad, a father who has grown to love the girl, and a girl who has not grown with a father. You'll see the difference. So if let's say all of us would just like put in the effort to actually teach the males, if the males actually take the time to organize this kind of functions, to talk to men and tell them like, this is how you're supposed to be. Do not see these females as this. If we have this female conferences, let's also have the male conferences where the males can also come and tell this man like, hey, this is how you're supposed to be. This is how you know your worth. This is how you can actually empower yourself, instead of just empowering the females, and the men are feeling neglected, and they start developing a certain kind of hate.
There is a
towards us.
lot of resentment of like, I don't know if like girls are paying attention. Like even at times when you hear somebody was killed, raped, or just abused in a certain way, if you go to the comment section, look at what those young men are writing.
Yeah, they are so heartless. They're like, hey,
They do not care.
Real.
They don't care
really
at
do
all.
not.
They feel nothing at all.
You really do.
And that should show you, like, because they're telling you how they feel. They're not even hiding it. They're like, we don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, "Atijui nani, we can't wait for the next one." They are telling you exactly what they feel. So you can't neglect that, because aren't those the same people who are going to come and finish these girls?
Yeah, true.
So if you want this situation, you have to address it.
Yeah.
Because we can keep saying like, oh, young men, you shouldn't, like, even of course, I'm always saying like, anybody can do what they want. But of course, there's still also this debate of my dress, my choice. This is always like a debate and going on. The reason for me, I'd never say like you dress your choice, is because I know guys. You see the comment section, you see what they're saying.
Yeah.
So why would I tell my sister, dress the way you want and go where you want? No. I know they're here, they're saying it.
Yeah.
They're telling you exactly what they're going to do. So me as a guy with my brain, I know what these people are capable of.
True.
So I'll tell my sister, like, hey, listen, you can't go there dressed like this. Just tone it down a bit, but you can still be like, don't make yourself too accessible for nut jobs, because when you're going to like an event or a certain space, nobody has been vetted to qualify to get in that. And as long as they paid for a ticket, they're there.
Yeah.
If it's a free event, everybody's there. You don't know people's backgrounds.
True.
You don't know what they've been doing in their past.
True.
And you take your daughter and you need to tell her, Mama, you dress the way you want. Nobody's going to touch you. Nobody's going to hurt you. They're saying what they'll do in the comment section. Why would I be a stupid parent or brother and tell my sister, no, you go and do whatever you feel like? No, I'll just tell her, cover up. But then again, for somebody else's daughter, I can't tell them what to do.
Yeah, true.
And that's why it's unfortunate. Even at times, I have friends that I would want to help in certain situations, but I can't do anything. I can just say, like, I can only tell that to my sister. Because who am I to address somebody else's daughter?
Yeah, true. But even in the recent cases of rape and everything else, it has come to prove that it's really not even a matter of the way somebody dresses. Because we've even seen that a fully dressed woman in a hijab will get raped. Yeah. Recently, we've seen even a show has gotten raped. So it's not even, like you've said, if we actually get to empower these males the way we get to empower these females, the issue of rape and femicide, killing women, it won't be an issue anymore, because the issue is not even about dressing. The issue, I think, is just that kind of resentment and that kind of hate towards women.
But we'll still go back and forth. Just finish and then I'll finish my point. I haven't forgotten. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I just think it's just that hate that they have towards women, because they really do not care. Even if you dress decently or indecently, if a man would want to do something to you, he will do it. And they have proven that to us, according to the recent cases that we have had, And if we actually would sit down, the reason as to why us girls we're being told every single time, like, you just be you, your dress, your choice. The reason as to why we're being empowered like that is because you guys, it's like you really do not care. You really do not care. Even if somebody comes in full clothing, you would still force yourself. Even in a matatu, you would find, because there's a recent time I was in a matatu and I was seated next to this man, and I cannot say that I was dressed indecently or anything, but this man was feeling the need to want to touch me and was like, hey, I even stood in the matatu and was shouting and was like, hey, I cannot sit next to this man. Why does he feel like he can just touch me the way he wants, So I do not, the issue is not even about dressing or whatever. The issue is the way us girls, we have people to sit us down and actually talk to us. Somebody has to sit men down and actually tell them, like, hey, that is not what masculinity is.
True.
Forcing yourself to women is not what masculinity is. You have to be able to control your sexual energy. You have to be able to control yourself sexually. You don't have to, not every woman that you see, you have to feel the constant need of touching her, because also these women that are out here, not all of them are clean. You cannot just look at a woman and you're like, wow, this woman looks nice, and automatically you feel the need to touch that woman. It's not wrong. The same way we are having people empower us is the same way these young men have to have people to sit them down and actually talk to them about these things. Because even if there's something I've also realized, this women empowerment thing is actually making women more smarter than men, you know. You can actually sit down with a man who is my age, and let me tell you, our thought process will not be the same. It will not be the same. Because there's so many things that I am being told about myself, feeding into my mind, that you have not been told, you know, and it is making you dumber and you don't know. And I'm so glad you brought that up. We really need to have male empowering content. We really need to have that. I think that it will solve a lot of issues.
How many young men have you seen on my podcast?
Many. I have
No,
seen.
you haven't.
No, I haven't seen any.
Have you seen any young men in my podcast?
Young men?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen
If you
women.
did your research.
I've seen women. I've seen women.
A lot.
I've seen a lot of women.
A lot.
A lot of women.
They're very expressive. They
Yeah.
have things to say. Like
Yeah,
a lot of young men, they just
yeah.
don't want to. They don't want to. Even if I try, it's kind of like tricky. By the time it gets to the date of recording, they're 50-50. They're second guessing themselves and everything. And you see it. But, you know, I've had, like, the youngest guest I've had on my podcast, she was 16.
Wow.
And if you hear her
So
speaking, I'll be shocked. Because I didn't know until she said it on the podcast. Because we were just going back and forth in a debate, like we were heated and everything. And then she goes like, you know, how am I supposed to know that I'm just 16? I'm like, what? How are you even in the podcast? Like, does your mom know you're here and everything? But, you know, we're cool friends. The mom knew she was coming to the podcast. But she's very mature. Like, when she's speaking, you think you're talking to like a 24, 25-year-old.
Yeah, that's
You wouldn't
how women are
know.
empowered.
And that's what I'm saying. If I picked a 16-year-old boy,
Nothing.
yeah.
Exactly.
But so now you see again, if we get these two people get in campus, and these guys are trying to talk to the women, and constantly you'll get that friction of like, these guys are too immature for me. But they don't even know how to be adults or even closely relate to like where these young women are because of the empowerment that the women have been given. And also it's unfortunate because we are also in a third world country or a developing country or whatever we can call it. Meaning opportunities won't be there as much as maybe people in the West can have. Because a lot of concepts that we're adapting right now are from overseas. So even like women empowerment programs and everything, they have been brought like from overseas. That's why NGOs are implementing them in certain ways and different thing. But we're in a fucking third world country.
True.
These boys, if they're not empowered in any way, there is no way, there is no job or activity that will save them like from they can't be, it's impossible, it's almost impossible to be successful like right now as a young man.
Yeah.
You're destined to like probably like, it's either you fail or like just God helps you out. I don't know how you can be successful now as a young boy.
Yeah, and also,
I just don't know.